Hi guys, welcome to this particular session, Terraform Introduction to Terraform for Beginners. It's since I'm assuming it all you guys are beginners, so hence this particular session. This session is basically divided into multiple parts. Basic introduction. Let me go to the agenda itself. So agenda wise, I'll take 1 minute about me. I'll tell you. Next topic would be what is infrastructure as a code, then what is Terraform, then why Terraform is so popular, and then we would be talking about resources names, main resource names in Terraform, and main commands we use on our day-to-day life using Terraform. Then these 6 steps would be a theory bit, and then we would be going ahead with the 7th step. That is, in 7th step I would be doing a hands-on session. Totally 3 hands-on session I would be doing it. One is using Terraform, how we can create repos in GitHub. Then creating a Docker. Docker is the Docker container. It's basically most happening in this world, right? In our IT industry. So with that one, I'll do one demo in the sense using Terraform, how we can create a container, and I'll do the practice session basically. Third one is since this is a Azure group, so I would be creating a one integration between Azure and using Terraform basically. So it is I'll try to create a few resource group. Resource group, it is basically a one resource. When the objective of this particular session is you should not shell out any money from your pocket. Okay, that is the reason only I'm creating a resource group. That won't cost you anything. All these 3 sessions without paying money, you would be able to learn Terraform. These are all the basic practice session I would be doing it. So let us start now. And last one is a QA session. After this 7th step, basically 5 to 10 minutes we can have a question and answer session. It's not only for this session, so after this session also you can reach me, as well as in the WhatsApp group you can reach. I would be able to answer all the questions. Yeah, so let us start now. So about me, my name is Sangamesh Kotni. I have 18 plus years of IT experience. I've seen all the life of SDLC life cycle. So I started my career as a Java developer, 7+ years of experience, and then thereafter I transitioned into infrastructure world, basically build and deployment. During those days, it wasn't called as a DevOps and all. So Agile came in 2010, and thereafter I was involved in Agile, as well as after that I was moved into a cloud, because since infrastructure guy, I have started working on cloud. So I'm a multi-cloud expert. On my day-to-day life, I work on all latest technologies, and I work for Publicis Sapient as a DevOps consultant. Yeah, that is what about me. And why to contribute? It's basically, I believe in basic education should be free, and as you guys know, there are lots of opportunity. Next 5 to 10 years is IT would be ruling. Because of COVID, all the digital DBT, digital business transformation, it has been preponed, right? So everything it is online. So obviously cloud DevOps would be a hot cake. This jobs, anyone learns it, practice it, they will be in a high demand, right? So and another thing, I believe in practice, right? So you guys as a learner, whatever I show you, go to home on your laptop, practice it. Practice this session. Only theoretical knowledge won't give you enough. So if you the basic demo, what I would be giving is, it's a basic one. You can learn it easily. You can do it, right? If you practice it, then only you would be able to achieve, right? Let us go to the first topic. It's enough about me. So yeah, what is infrastructure as a code? IAC. IAC means it's basically whatever the infrastructure companies created, right, for any product or any project. So we we try to make it as an infrastructure as a code, provisioning, creating a virtual machine, creating all the resources, right? So we code it, so that what will happen is, if you code it, so your all the code is repeatable, right? So what does that mean? So it's basically any cloud infrastructure in any environment, any software going live, right? There would be phases: dev, test, production, pre-prod, performance test environment, production environment. All these environments, you need to create the same environment, right? And in olden days, what used to happen pre-automation and all those things, we used to manually create dev environment, create a web servers, and all those things. There used to be a big Word document, step by step we used to mention it, and in dev environment, one build and the environment guy used to build it and then deploy it, right? And then the same document it used to give it to the next environment, operation team and all, right? So obviously, if the person doesn't put some task, then it would, in the next higher environment, you would be facing issues, right? So there is no auditability. It won't be there. It wasn't there. So there was issues were there, right? Developer used to say it is working from my laptop, and people used to say it is working in dev environment. It is not working in production environment. It is not my issue. It's a L2 team issue, right? In that way, fight used to happen. So using infrastructure as a code, what benefits gives is it's basically you can automate all provisioning of all the resource in cloud, as well as all the DevOps toolchain. Basically, take an example of Nginx or any tools, right? For example, Nexus, Artifactory, or JFrog, right? Any tool, these tool chains, tool chain, you can build it as a infra, as a code itself. Those if a dev environment due to some issue, someone has tweaked it or someone has deleted it, so what will happen? So in that case, you run your pipeline. It will if there is any issues there, it will recreate it, and without any other issues, right? All the access permission would be given. Everything, it will work as smooth as possible. How it was earlier, it was replicate the same environment. We call it as a immutable. So since it is a code, right? So we can version control it. So once we can put our code in any versioning control software. For example, GitHub, Bitbucket. Take any example, Azure repos and all those bit, right? So any versioning control. So infrastructure as code, what exactly it gives the benefits? It's basically you can repeat and run the same code in any environment. Basically, you develop in dev environment, same code for building of servers. Same thing you do it on a dev. Little bit modification would be there, but overall you can create it as is. With a little bit environment specific configuration will get changed. A second benefit is you can trace the changes. Since it is our environment would be built via pipelines, so who ran it, and even if there is a modification is there, right? Someone commits the code change, so traceability would be there, right? And you can see what is there in the dev environment, what is there in the higher environment, next environment, what is missing. You can run it, trace it out, and fix the issues, right? And you can audit it. Basically, who did it, what, and when exactly it was run, right? So obviously, during a pipeline, there would be a approval would be there in order to go to deploy to the next environment, right? So over there, obviously, who has approved it? You can't go live directly, right? So without approval, someone has to approve your pipeline in order to deploy to a production or next higher environment. So with this one, auditing it would be there. And implementation, next one is implementation would be speed. Speed in the sense it would be fast. Basically, in olden days, what used to happen is we used to take months together in order to build a dev environment, then test environment, and the next higher environment. Now it is, you tested your code as a provisioning of environment, you build it and test it out in a dev cycle. The same thing you can use it in the higher. So implementation would be very fast, right? So because it is only one time you build it, there would be environment specific configuration will be changing. So only if you cater that one, it will create it very quickly. And the creation of the task would be, actual creation, it would be quick itself, right? So next is it's reliable. So in olden days, there was a chance of human error, right? Someone missing a step to follow to do some configuration, right? So in this case, it is no chance. Reason is it is tested in dev environment. If the code is proper and the environment is proper, then obviously it will same thing. It will work in the higher environment as well. So there is no chance of a human error. So example of next bit is example of IAC tools. There are as an infrastructure as a code, there are number one is Terraform. I can't say it as a number two is CloudFormation or number three is ARM. CloudFormation is basically for AWS, and ARM templates are specifically for Azure. So using Terraform, if you know the Terraform, you can build AWS resource as well as ARM Azure resource as well. But if you know CloudFormation, you can build only AWS resource. Using CloudFormation, you can't build Azure resources or GCP resources. But using Terraform, if you know how exactly a resource has to be created, you can build it. That is a disadvantage between advantage of Terraform against the disadvantage of CloudFormation and ARM template. Think that your client or customer wants to be only on the AWS, then it makes sense to use CloudFormation, or in Azure case, ARM templates, right? So if your client, obviously, in order to get those resources, if you see Terraform, you can find a resource. But if in order to find the ARM resources, the person who knows ARM or CloudFormation, it is bit less compared to Terraform. So that is the reason Terraform is a number one, right? But before Terraform, wasn't there any tools? Wasn't there? It was there. For example, as you can see here, Puppet was there from 2005 itself, right? From 2009, Chef was there, and from 2012, Ansible came into picture. But late to the party was Terraform. That it has came in 2014, but it has taken over other tools. You can't call Puppet, Chef, and Ansible as provisioning infrastructure provisioning tools. Reason being, these are all majorly concentrated on configuration management tools. Basically, in infrastructure as a code, there are two types are there. One is provisioning infrastructure provisioning tools, and the second one is configuration management. You build, for example, you build a web server, right? And you wanted to add some configurations, some location match, and all those things. Building of a web server is done by Terraform. Is there any for adding any location match or in a web server? That could be done by Puppet, Chef, and Ansible. Those tasks are called as configuration management task, basically. So first three are Puppet, Chef, and Ansible are more towards configuration management. Terraform is more towards infra provisioning. Yeah. So if you see here, since it is Azure bit, this is an example of application stack. So if you see here, Terraform or ARM template can do all this bit. So basically, creating of a DNS bit, creation of a resource group, public IP address, NIC, virtual machine, creation of a virtual network, right? So in any cloud, we have three services mainly: compute, network, and storage. So virtual machine creation, virtual network creation, managed disk, basically. So all these things can be done by Terraform as well as ARM template. But people go for a Terraform because it's this application with Terraform you can build. We can do further tasks as well, right? So if you see here, in this diagram, it's a sample application. You can see in this particular VM, you can install if you wanted to host any WordPress site or run Nginx server or host your own website, so in that case you would be installing a virtual machine, right? So and you need a public IP address and you need to access over the internet. So this is a normal example of application stack, we call it, right? So in normal case, further database would be there, but it's a sample example, right? So in order to build all this bit, Terraform would be used. And if you wanted to build the same thing in next environment with the same code, you can build it very quickly. So let us go to the next topic, that is, what is Terraform? So Terraform, as I told you, it's a infrastructure as a provisioning tool, and it is developed by HashiCorp. So HashiCorp is one of the product company. It's a unicorn, right? Pawan, I think either you want to ask anything or you want to?
No, sorry. I think by mistake it was on mute.
No problem. No problem. Yeah. Yeah. So Terraform was first initially it was released 7 years ago. That is in 28th of July 2014. Though it is released in 7 years back, you won't believe it. Hardly 6 months back, it was released as a 1.0, right? So all these 7 years, it was battle tested, and it was used by almost all the companies. So I've been using it from almost 5 to 6 years, and over the period of time, it has added a hell lot of functionalities, right? So though it is released, it became 1.0 in June 2021. It has a hell lot of features. So main products of developed by HashiCorp are main are these four. Basically, I have worked on these bit. There are a few more are there. I haven't worked on those bit. So Packer is used for creating an image which is a hardened image which would be used for creating a virtual machine. And Vault is basically a secret key management solution. Basically, it is you can store secrets and all those bit. Vagrant, it's basically you can run your Linux machine on Windows machine using Vagrant. Console is a storage provider. So in order to, for example, how S3 is there as a storage provider, you can use Console. These are all products, top notch product of HashiCorp. So normal big companies, banking solutions, you use at least three to four out of these products developed by HashiCorp. So main benefits of Terraform, you can, as I said earlier, you can build an environment from scratch. You can, if there is any change required, you can modify, change the environment with the ease. There is no issue at all. And versioning control, you can do it. It would be safe and secure, right? And you can, another thing, once you know to implement with one cloud provider, then it would be easy for you to pick another cloud. Basically, now the game is I do lot of recruitment. We have sometimes what will happen is we need a multi-cloud expert. You won't get it in the market because either person knows one cloud or that's it, right? So that too, he won't be perfect. But if you learn Terraform, what will happen is you can create an infrastructure in another cloud as well. With a little bit of effort is required, but it is a bit easy. So that is an advantage. Now currently multi-cloud expert is kind of a hotcake. So you can't get a people who is expert in two more than one cloud, right? So yeah, so that is the reason it's a must for any DevOps engineer. So why Terraform is so popular? So it is a go-to tool for any infrastructure provisioning task currently. It's a free to use, and it's a declarative language. Declarative language in the sense you write it one by step. It will try to, it will find out what is the dependency is there. It will figure it out and it will create it for you. learning curve is very short. You can quickly install Terraform on your laptop. You can practice it. You can learn it very quickly. Once you learn Terraform, it is easy to provision, as I told, in the other cloud providers as well with minimal effort. Syntax wise, for one cloud provider to another cloud provider, it is same. It is only the naming convention it would get changed. Other than that one, almost all the syntaxes are same. If you know one cloud, another cloud is cakewalk kind of a thing. It is an immutable infrastructure. Means you build it, something happens, someone think that in your team there is a fresher user or someone unknowingly deleted some infrastructure, right? So you run your pipeline, automatically it will identify, Terraform will see it, a particular person, and if a resource is deleted, it will automatically do a Terraform plan, and it will show you this is the difference user, I am going to create it. So automatically it will go and create it. If you approve it, if you run the Terraform apply, it will recreate for you. And think that if you don't need an infrastructure, right? So cloud, again, people say cloud is cost effective and all those things. If you in our client or in multiple cases, what we do is we do require a dev environment or some environment only from morning 9 o'clock to evening 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, right? After that, you don't require it. Or weekends, you don't require it, those environment. Why a customer or client has to pay for resources when no one is using, right? So night time, right? Or in the evening time. So it is in most of the services of clouds, it would be a hourly based or minute per minute charges would be there. So what we can do is at the morning, within a half an hour, it can build up an environment. So evening while going, you can delete the complete infrastructure itself. So that what will happen is night time you need not pay for the infrastructure itself. And during the weekend on a Friday or something like that, delete it off. And within an hour time, depending on the project complexity, it will take to create your infrastructure. So that's a cost effective, right? So you need not pay when you're not using it. So next one is Terraform is masterless and agentless compared to other tools. If you see other tools, Perfect and Chef and all, they are agent based and master and client based systems. So what will happen is in order to work on that, it takes infrastructure for that tool as well. So for any client, it will save a cost, right? So that is an extra benefit of Terraform. So now let us go to next step. Next topic. So main resources, resource names in Terraform. So Terraform, these are all the main, but main 5 are there. Apart from this one, there are many are there. If you go to a Terraform URL, a Terraform official website, you would be able to see it. So main thing is provider. Providers is nothing but a glue between Terraform, your Terraform code, and Terraform, and then end tool. It's basically either it can be a cloud providers or any SaaS providers or other APIs. For example, take example of Azure cloud, right? So Azure or AWS. So in order to do an integration between your code and Azure cloud, you require a provider. That is the bridge between your code and Azure cloud, right? So what it will do is it requires authentication and authorization, but so with that one, it talks to Azure via API calls. Next one is a resources. Resources is basically nothing but it is everything. It's basically virtual machine. In order to create a virtual machine or any cloud resources or any virtual machine, resource group, VNet, subnets, all these things are categorized as each individual resources, right? So next is a data source. Data source is basically think that you have created a virtual network already, but you wanted to reference it in some other project. So you can use via data source. You give a name, location, and all those. But with that one, you can pull ID of existing resources. Next one is the state. State file is basically infrastructure wise. What Terraform does is, when you run a Terraform plan or a Terraform apply, what it will do is whatever the resources it has created, it will keep all the reference in state file. The state file, if you are running it from local, it would be created in your working directory with the file extension called as a .tf state. This is the heart and soul of our infrastructure configuration of a our Terraform. It is a heart and soul. So with this, in this particular .tf state, all the history would be written. So this is the what exactly it is there in the end stage. All those things it would be written in this Terraform state. So it's basically a replica of what is there in Azure Cloud, for example. So basically, Terraform state can be kept it in local, but in usually in real world we keep it in a storage. It could maximum in a blob storage. We keep our Terraform state in our day-to-day life, because you won't be only working on this particular application, right? So your colleagues would be working as well. So state should be at a centralized place. So next,
can we push it to repository, source code management, or somewhere?
Ideally, we should not keep it in a source code management, because reason is source code management. Everyone would be having access, right? So that should not be the case. This is a secure place, because some of the tokens, everything, it would be kind of hard coded in this TF state.
It should be private.
Correct. It should be private, and it should be accessed only by your pipelines. Not other than that one, no one should have access to it, because people can tamper it, right? So you don't want someone to tamper it. That is the whole reason.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Next main thing is modules. Modules is see, the thing is, what will happen is, it's basically if you have learned OOPS concept, right? Basically code once. In our DevOps world, we call it as dry policy. Dry in the sense, do not repeat yourself, meaning you write one code, reuse the same code rather than writing 10 times. Think that you have a requirement to create a 100 virtual machine, right? So in that case, you won't be writing 100 times same virtual machine code, Terraform code. Instead, what you do is, you create a module which has virtual machine related resources configured, and then you call those modules in your main.tf, right? So what will happen is, only virtual machine configuration is at a centralized place and configured as a module. So think that there is in future, if there is any changes required at a module level, you can modify it, and it will be affected across the board. Basically, all the infrastructure, all the virtual machine configuration, you need not change it. Change it at one place itself. So that is the advantage of module. So next next topic is main commands used in Terraform. So first of all, we use Terraform init. Terraform init is basically, it's an initial run. First run you need to do is a Terraform init. Init is nothing but initialization. What it will do is, Terraform will after running this, what it will do is, it will see your all the TF file. It will scans across and finds, is there any providers are there. If there is any provider configuration is written in any of the .tf files, it will go to the outside world, basically a Terraform registry, go and get that particular provider, and download it into your local, either local, or if you are running a pipeline, it would be your AG2 agent in this case, in Azure case, right? Over there, it will install that particular providers. So this is the first command we would be running it. Next is Terraform format. It's basically if you have written some spaces is there and all this bit, it's basically a linting bit in order to make your code beautification and more readable format. If you run this against your current working directive where your TF files are there, it will automatically format everything. So properly alignment everything, it will do it for you basically. Next command is Terraform Plan. Terraform Plan is basically what it does is whatever you have written in your code, it compares against your end result. For example, in Azure cloud, there are 5 virtual machines you have created it. It checks in Terraform only 5 code is written, or 6th one is added. If it is the 6th one is there, what it will show you is in our Terraform codes, there is an extra virtual machine is there, but it is not been created in Azure cloud. So it will show you, it's basically a dry run. It will show you a message saying that one resource, one virtual machine has to be created. By saying that, you can understand that there is a mismatch is there, right? So that is the use of this particular command. Next one is a Terraform Plan, Terraform Apply, sorry. So Terraform Apply is the actual command which creates your actual resources in your cloud. In your cloud, it's basically either whatever you have written in your code, it will go and create it. This is the main command, and sometimes it can be destructive. For example, you have created a virtual machine with lower spec, and you wanted to increase it to a higher spec, right? So in that case, what will happen is, since for a virtual machine you can't change the specs. If you change the specs, it is nothing but it has to be recreated. So there would be a 2 resources modification. It would be there. One is it will say replaced, 1 deletion and one destroy and 1 creation. It would be there. So you should be very careful. You should check Terraform Plan. If you are happy, then only you should run Terraform Apply. So last but and main destructive command is Terraform Destroy. As I said earlier, basically after 6 o'clock or after 5 o'clock, if you wanted to delete your infrastructure, right, you can do it. With this particular, if you run your Terraform Destroy, what it will do is it will destroy all the commands, all the resources what it has been created against that Terraform state. So with this command, it is a bit risky, as well as it is a good advantage as well. Risky in the sense, if you think that any fresher runs this, complete your environment, it gets deleted. Though you can run your Terraform Apply, but there would be a lag would be there, right? There will be a chaos, and people will be escalating. The environment is not there and all, right? So yeah, but since Terraform is immutable, you can recreate it, but it will take half an hour. Depending on how many resources are there, it will take time. So if it is only one virtual machine, within 5 minutes it will recreate it. So, but it is useful because you will save a cost. Obviously, everyone wants to save the cost, right? So that is this is the command it is used. So high level, this is what it has happens. Practitioner is nothing but you guys, whoever wants to code it. This is infrastructure as a code, the code Terraform code what you have written it. So you run a Terraform plan and then next apply. Once you apply it, what will happen is depending on the provider. For example, it can be a Kubernetes, it can be a Docker, it can be AWS, GCP, or Azure, right? What it will do is it will create, if think that it is written saying that 1, 2, these many resources it has to be created, automatically, depending on the which provider, it will go and create it for that many resources. This is a high level of diagram. Hope you have a pictorial presentation. I have added this. Reason being is since you are a beginner, you should be able to see it sometimes picture is always better than explaining, right? That is the reason I have kept it. So next one is practice session. So let us create a GitHub repo using Terraform. This is the first session, first practice I would be doing it now. I will be showing you guys. You can, whenever you have free time, you can do it. So prerequisite for this one is a GitHub account. It is a free account. Anyone can create it, right? And Terraform is installed on your laptop. Okay, so let us dive into my IDE. And you should have a IDE as well. Any IntelliJ or a VS Code, right? So let me show it. So first one is a GitHub integration. So as you can see here, 1 second, let me open it. So this is my GitHub repository, right? So if you see here, for Beginner Academy, doesn't have any public repository, right? So what we would be doing is we would be creating a repository. So for this one, the code is here. So as I said earlier, there is a provider is required, right? So 1 second. This is the provider. This is the gel between GitHub and our Terraform code. And in order to interact with this GitHub, you require a authentication and authorization. For that, this is the token we provided. How we can create this particular token? If once you create your GitHub, right? So go to right hand side and click on settings, right? And then click on developer settings, and then click on personal access token. And just click on, I have already created demo this token. Click on generate token, give a meaningful name, and give whatever you wanted to give this particular token, right? So with the proper name, let me create it so that you guys know about it. Okay, just I'm creating it. So you have created it. This particular token, you have to copy it and paste it over here. Okay, so then after that, what will happen in the main.tf? I have written 2 resources. As I told you earlier, this is a resource, GitHub repository. It is a meaningful name I have given it. With this particular name, I would be creating it. I would be adding a little bit description and visibility. As you know, if you know GitHub, there are 2 types are there: private and as well as public repo. So I'm keep making it as a public repo. Okay, so 2 repos I would be creating it: Beginner Academy 1 and second is Beginner Academy 2. Okay, so let us start.
Just a quick question. The IDE that you're using, can you show us like how to install it and from where to download it?
Kaushik, if because it for downloading it may take time. What I can do is, Kaushik,
but from which website? Yeah.
It's IntelliJ. So if you search, once again, if you search for IntelliJ IDE, this is what it is. Click on download. Whichever environment, if you have Windows laptop, use this, Mac, Linux, whatever it is, right?
All right.
Click on download. Yeah. If you are comfortable with VS Code, but make sure that as a DevOps engineer, you should, because it's all infra as a code, you guys should be familiar with one IDE. We call it as an IDE. At least one you should be aware. Either it can be VS Code or IntelliJ. I am comfortable with both a bit, but I heavily use IntelliJ because it has a good reference point and plugins are there. Okay.
Okay. So for Visual Studio Code as well, we need to install some extensions, right?
Correct. Terraform extension you can do it, but yeah, I have worked on both the IDE, but my personal favorite is this. It depends on personal choice, right? So yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, fine. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so how exactly it has to be created? So what you would do is in order to, let me run go to terminal. Let me go to that particular folder. Okay, so if you could see here, if I do my ls minus lrt, there are .terraform, local, and all those things is there. This Terraform state for testing purpose. I had run it earlier, so that is the reason it is there. Let me delete it off so that for you guys it would be easy. So now if you see what all the files are there in my case, provider dot, let me delete this as well. Here it is only main.tf, provider.tf, only two files are there, right? So as earlier I told, first command is terraform init we need to run. So let us run this. So basically what it does is it searches this particular folder and tries to find a provider. So I have given a provider name .tf. You can give whatever name you want. In order to read it, reading purpose, for a proper naming convention, I have given it like that. But yeah, industry standards, right? That is the reason. So what it will do is GitHub Terraform GitHub plugin. It should try to download. Okay, so let me clear it again. I'll maximize it. If you run Terraform init, so if you see here, it is Terraform is finding this integration GitHub, and Terraform has successfully initialized. Basically, what it did was installing integration GitHub this version. So it went to outside world and took this integration in GitHub and downloaded to my local. So how you can check it is downloaded or not. If you see here, there is earlier I had deleted everything, right? Main.tf and provider.tf only was there. If you expand it, you can see here it went to a registry of Terraform IO, took this GitHub, whatever you have written it, GitHub it took, and it downloaded its binaries basically. Okay, yeah, so init is done, initialize is done. Next what we are going to do is Terraform Plan. What it will do is basically check your configuration and check against GitHub how many GitHub it has to create it. If you see here, plan 2 to add, 0 to change, and 0 to destroy. This is the dry run it has done it. So it is creating, it is saying this repository will be created. 2 and first one is GitHub repo 1, right? So if you see here, it is saying 2 resources it has to be created. So now let us apply. Okay, so if I apply it, so again it will say the same thing. So just say you need to enter yes only. If you enter other than yes, it won't do it. Okay, so let us give a couple of seconds so that it will go and create these 2 repos, right? Yeah, so it took hardly 10 seconds, right? So it is fast, right? So it said apply complete, 2 resource added, 0 change, 0 destroyed, right? So now if you go to here, earlier I showed you nothing was there. Your repository, see here, magic, right? So beginner academy .1 and beginner academy 2, it has created. So now you wanted to modify it, right? So I don't want a beginner academy so let me change. Project says let us give a proper naming convention. Let us say AZDO repo and application 1 repo. Okay, so this is what it our company has told. This is what it has to be there. Okay, so now what we need to do is we would be running the same plan. You can check it in apply also, it will do the same thing. So I would be running apply. So if you see here, Terraform detected that there is a change is there. GitHub repo 1 will be updated in place. For example, name is getting changed. This mark is there, right? This means it is getting updated with Beginner Academy 1 to AZTO repo, right? The second name was Beginner Academy 2 to Application 1. So this is the change. So you can see here 0 to add, 0 to destroy, and 2 to add, 2 to change, right? So let us enter yes and wait for a couple of seconds. Okay, so now this time it took 4 seconds to first one for 4 and the second repo is also 4. So if you see here, just I will do a refresh. Magic happened, right? The repo got changed. So now think that this is a power of Terraform. So think that you wanted to. Yeah,
Sorry,
go
but the ID would have remained same, right?
on. Which ID?
There was an ID Beginner Academy 1 and
Yeah.
name was Beginner Academy 2 and Beginner Academy 1, and you changed Beginner Academy 1 to ASDO repo.
See here. If you see here, ID earlier 1 was there. It completed. The ID also got changed.
Okay.
You got the point, right?
Okay, so that's what I'm trying to understand. If there is a Git repository which has multiple public repositories in that, how would Terraform identify that I have to change this one only?
See, the thing is, it has to be, from the scratch, it has to be there. So, okay, I'll show you. As I said earlier, Terraform state is a complete heart and soul of it, right? So, if you click here, so it has all the details. GitHub repository, the name, all these details, it is there here with this name.
Okay.
So, and via API call, what it does is it checks it. So, what it is there, and what it has to do it. So it maps it, it sees the discrepancy, and it changes it.
Okay, got it. State is actually saving all those state, and then
correct. This is the heart and soul of Terraform. Okay.
Thanks.
So let us take an example. You wanted to now 2 was there. Let us add another 4, right? Another 2. So I'll say repo 2. I will say application 2. This is third repo. This is my 4th repo, right? So now what it has to say is any idea? Anyone? Any guess what exactly it should do?
It should apply these changes, right? It should check the changes and apply.
Yeah, it has to say only because already first 2 resources is already there, right? 3rd and 4th it has to create. So that is the reason what it will say is plan to add 2, 0 to change, 0 to destroy. So if you see here, 4 is getting added and 3 is getting added because that is newly we have added it. So let us enter yes. Let us wait for 10 seconds. Okay, it took exactly 10 seconds. So if you go here, resources, application 2 was added, Azure AZDO repo 2 was added, right? So I think that now you wanted to delete the first 2 repo, right? So now commenting is nothing but it is not there. It is not exist, right? So if you run Terraform apply, it has to tell us 2 to destroy. Reason being, I've commented it the code, it doesn't exist, right? So let us enter yes. Destruction complete. 2 is destroyed, right? So if I refresh it, whatever initially we have created, it gone, right? So in this way, any changes, delta changes, you can propagate to your environment, right? So now the last command I will show you is destroy, right? As I said, you can. There was a yes, it was there, right? Yes, it was coming. You need to press it. So you can auto approve with this command as well. destroy auto approve, it won't ask you to enter yes. So now what I have done is destroyed both the resources, remaining 2 resources, right? So if I gone, so nothing is there. Yeah, you guys got the point, right? So now let us go to the next demo. It is creating a Docker container using Terraform. So prerequisite for this one is Docker should be installed and Terraform is installed, right? So let us go to our code. So our repo, let us close this Docker integration.
Hi Sigmish, one query I have.
Yeah.
Do we need to create a main.tf and provider.tf, or it will automatically create while we do that init command?
No. That is, see, the thing is, here I showed you, right? As a DevOps engineer, you need to create those 2 files.
Okay.
Infra as a code, that is a DevOps engineer's job to create and maintain it.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. So now example is how to create a containers, right? Let me Docker. So if you see Docker container list, it's -a. If any containers are running, it will show over here, right? So currently nothing is running, empty. Okay. So as an example, so I'll walk you through the code, right? And I'll run the test. So if you see here, this is the provider for Docker. Okay. This is which is there in Terraform registry. Okay, this is the version, and this is the provider configuration. It should be there. This is in this case it is running on my own laptop. Okay, and in order to create Docker container, you require 2 bits. One is Docker image, second one is Docker container. Right? There is 2 differences there. Image is a packaged artifact, and probably I can take another session with the Docker bit, beginner session for a beginner's tutorial for Docker. I'll explain it over there, right? So one main thing, Docker image should be there, and Docker container. Docker image is basically artifact. You can think of it as any installation in a Windows. You will get it as a .exe, right? So image is a bundled copy, right? And Docker container, when you run your exe, it will obviously install on your Windows laptop, right? It will install all the files and all this bit, right? In order to run that particular application, what all the files and everything is required, that would be your running application. In this case, Docker container is that bit, right? So here, if you see here, for Docker container resource, I am assigning, I am telling that image should be Docker image. This is the one. For example, that is Nginx. For Nginx is the web servers. If you guys doesn't know, it's a web server. You can host your application on that. So if you click here, it will take you to this particular Nginx. So that is the advantage. So now it is only 2 resources are there, you know it. But in actual projects, it would be thousands of files, at least hundreds of files would be there. In order to navigate, that is the reason I use IntelliJ. Yeah. So Docker image, Docker container has this reference. It has to go to here. It has to pick this particular Nginx. Docker image, when you mention this particular bit, what it will do is, there is a concept called as Docker World. Docker Hub is there. That's a public repository. What it will do is, at a runtime, it will go to Docker Hub and download the Nginx image. Okay, and I had given this port. Basically, since it is a web server, Nginx would be running on internal port, that is 80. External port is 8080. This port can be anything, right? External port in the sense, from my laptop, how can I access on which port? Because obviously 80 would be some other application would be running. So that is the reason I have given 8080. Okay, this is the port external to the container. Internal to the container is 80. Okay, so let us now run this example. So let me init it. So if you see here, reusing previous version. And another thing is, if you already done Terraform init and this Terraform folders are there, it won't go and again try to get it. It will save your time, right? So if the .terraform folder is there, it will reuse the same thing, because already it is there. It should not go to a outside world and try to get it. So now let us run.
Sangamesh, this is a workspace you call? Like there is something, right? Workspace and project.
You can call it as a your project workspace.
Okay, so we need to maintain multiple workspaces. Like, what is the best practices?
Best practices.
Ideally.
What happens is, in all these pipelines runs in your Azure DevOps agents. Basically, on that, those agents would be immutable. Basically, when you request it, one agent, it will you'll get it, right?
Right.
So in our stages, Azure DevOps pipeline stages, first stage would be Terraform stage, init stage. Next, a plan stage. Then there is a approval gate would be there. Then we will run a approval stage. So in your HDO agent, there won't be a .terraform. It has to go and fetch it at any cost, because because it's our HDO agent is immutable, so it will get destroyed, right? So we need to have a Terraform init stage.
Okay, and so this is something on your local, right? This is
my own local. Yeah, this is my local.
So ideally, again, in your real-time world, you will be pushing this to some storage. You are saying the same thing?
No, .terraform is not required to be kept it in the storage. It's only the .terraform .state only is required to be there in the storage.
Oh, okay. Not all these files, main.provider and all these things.
See,
the configuration files.
Yeah, main.tf and provider.tf, it would be there in a repository. That's a versioning system. Either it can be a GitHub and all.
Oh, okay.
This would be there in the storage.
Same thing earlier. Okay. So this we can have it hosted on our code repository.
Correct. These two files would be there in the GitHub repository. Yeah. Okay. So now we've the Terraform plan, it said 2 to add, 0 to change, and 0 to destroy. So if you see here, Docker image, it is what it will do is at a runtime, it will go and download it to my local. Okay, and next one is Docker container. It is getting created. Okay, so let us run. Apply. Let us enter yes. It will take a little bit of time. Let me see. I have already downloaded a Docker image. Docker.
Which I forgot. I missed out on. What is the difference between main and provider TF files?
1 second. In question and answer session, shall I answer it? Is it fine?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. So Docker, so if you see here, it took 19 seconds. If you're familiar with the Docker, what it will happen is, if the image is already there, it won't go again and try to fetch it. So it was already there in my machine. It was, this particular image, Nginx was around 141 MB. So that is the reason it was quick. In your case, first time it will take a bit of a time depending on the bandwidth what you have it. So for me, it took 19 seconds, right? So if you see here, Docker, let us run clear command. If you see here, container list, so yeah, it is this container is already running. So if you see here, 8080, in order to access our Nginx server, I need to access it via 8080 port. 8 is the internal port. Okay, so now let us open my Docker dashboard. So this in here you can see it is again the same thing. It is whatever ls command what it is showing. Here also it is the same thing, but it's in a GUI format. So let us hit it. Here, welcome to Nginx. This is our web server running on my laptop, and the port is 8080. Right? In this way, you can see your Docker container is running. This request is served by this particular container. Okay. So now let us go to next session. Next session, it's basically session is in this session. Obviously, you guys wanted to know how exactly Terraform can integrate with Azure. In this in order to make this particular session, you should have Azure account. It's again a free account. If you have you can get it. It's a free account. There are many services are free, 25 plus services, and for 1 year you will get it for free. So you can create an account. I have created one video how to create an account. You can watch it. This particular account, once you create it, Azure account, and Terraform should be installed. So let us begin this last demo. Okay, so close this. Okay, so here due to my intention was as a beginner, without paying money, you should be able to do it. So that is the reason I have created this scenarios so that it won't hurt your pockets. So here also same case, it is main.tf is there, and main.tf is there, provider.tf is there. So same case, providers, what it will do is this is the provider HashiCorp Azure RM, and in order to interact with Azure, right? So if, on the fly you can't create your resource basically, right? So in order to create a resource, you should have a proper access and proper permission. So so in real world, what we use are called as a via service principal. So service principal is the identity which I can show it to you guys. So if you this is my Azure portal of Beginner Academy. So if you search Azure AD, right? So search for app registration. So if you see here, so you need to create this one, and there is secrets. So this is a secret, right? So this is nothing but using this, we call it as a service principal. With this access, you can interact with Azure via API, either using Azure CLI or using JSON code. Also, you can call Azure using a number of ways. You can use PowerShell, you can use Azure CLI or normal JSON as well. So this is the authentication, the authorization mechanism. We in real world in IT industries we use it, right? So currently I have hard coded it. As I said earlier, there is another product is the HashiCorp's Vault that basically we use in real world to store these secrets. So if someone copies this, can create any resources. So that is the reason you should make sure that this particular piece of code is there, right? If someone utilizes it, you will get a hefty bill. With this one, with these details, you can create any services in Azure world. So hence you should not check in this particular code in GitHub, especially GitHub public repo. If you are planning to create a GitHub public repo, try to create a private repo. Don't create a public repo. And second bit, you should not check in this particular bit. Okay, you should keep it in as an environment variable. For demo purpose, I'm doing it. After this demo, I would be deleting this secret itself. Clicking here, click on delete. That's it. Okay. So now coming back to this integration bit. So if you see here, resource group, nothing is there in my case. So what we would be doing is here, basic thing, I'm creating a RG1 beginner academy. This is done via SP, service principal. That is the reason this name I'm giving it. I'm in UK South. I'm in UK. That is the reason I'm giving this particular location. In your case, you can keep whatever your location is there, right? So let us run this bit. cd dot where is that? Okay, so Terraform init for showing purpose. So if you see here, reusing the hashik of Azure RM, same path, right? So now let me run Terraform. I'll do the apply itself in order to save the time, right? Okay, Terraform apply. Yeah, so if you see here, it has to add 2, 0 to change, 0 to destroy, because this resource group doesn't exist here, right? So I'll say yes. Yeah, so it took almost very less, 0 seconds, right? But again, reason being is resource groups are not heavyweight, so it is free resource. So yeah, so it takes little bit of time. So let us go via here. There is a bug in this portal. So if you see here, it is created. Okay, via this sometimes it takes time. So now it is reflected. Resource group directly if you access, right? Resource group, you can see both are created. So in earlier sessions, same thing, right? So you wanted to let me give, just I'll change this name to show you guys. It's again, what it will do is there is change, right? So it will modify it. So apply, auto approve. See here, because the name got changed, right? What it did was it is trying to destroy it and recreate it. Yeah, destruction is complete after 15 seconds. 1 second. Yeah, if you have seen, it took 15 seconds, but creation it was very fast, but destruction was a bit slow, right? So portal has an issue, so yeah, it picked it up. So if you see here, it got changed, right? So in this way, this is one example of creating one resource in Azure, right? If you wanted to create virtual machine and all those things, just click on search for this. If you go to Terraform registry, you would be able to find all the resources. This is Azure provider, right? So for example, virtual machine you wanted to create, or so if you click here, you can already with example they are given it. In order to create a virtual network, you can use this. Subnet you can create like this, and NIC you can use it, and then virtual machine. If you copy also, it will work, and try practicing it, right? So that will give you enough experience. Okay, so where was I? So this is yeah. Any questions?
Similar to ARM template, we will also be able to parameterize the things, right? The resource group name.
Yeah, you can do it.
This
Okay.
is a beginner tutorial. That
Yeah,
is
got
the
it,
reason we didn't want to complicate it. Any other questions in chat? There are. What is the meaning of versioning control? Where exactly you can copy the files, keep your code in a repository, centralized repository, so that your team member can access it, and you can change what exactly was there earlier with the older Git IDE. So let me go through all this. If no one wants to ask a question, so what I will do is I will go through one by one these questions and I'll answer it. Hope that's fine. If someone wants to ask, they can unmute themselves and ask.
Yeah, hi, Sangamesh.
Yeah.
I wanted to know, like, when you were showing the plan and when you write it, Terraform plan. So at that time, the output showed that like was the creation of the container and then the image. But when you did Terraform apply, then the creation of image was done first and the container was done later. So how this sequencing happens in Terraform?
See, the thing is that's the beauty of Terraform. So whatever you code, wherever you want, you can code it in your Terraform files. But internally, it finds out the dependencies first, and then it will do the first. Which job it has to be done first, it will do that particular job. For example, show you the code. Why it did was if you see here the code, it is a simple code. Nothing is there. No dependency. For Docker container, there is a reference there. For image, it has to click here. It has a reference of this particular bit. Docker image, this name we have given, right? So that is the reason internally what it did was it took this reference and then did according to this particular plan.
Okay. And another question was with respect to Azure RM, the provider that you use to create the resource group.
Yeah.
You specified the subscription ID and the client credentials like secret and all.
Yeah.
So if we have to deploy any resource on a multi-subscription model, then how we can achieve that?
In a multi-subscription model, what will happen is using in Azure DevOps, we can select it as a parameter wise. We can select a parameter as a subscription, and at a runtime, that subscription ID would be changing at a runtime basically. In real world, what we do is subscription. In real world, in our Azure DevOps, we have an option to choose. We can parameterize it. So we can think that you have a 2 subscription, same code you wanted to deploy it in both the environments. So in that case, what will happen is Azure DevOps, while running the pipeline, you choose which subscription you wanted to add it, and then what it will do is the code what we would be writing is in such a way that it will select that value from that combo box and take action, deploy to that particular subscription. Hope I answered it.
Can you, like, if you have some example code for how that variable or whatever you are talking, I don't get that.
What I will do is I forgot your name.
Ankur.
What I will do is I can create one video for you by doing it. The same example, create a 2 subscription with Azure DevOps pipeline, so that you can see it how in action itself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thanks. Thank you for that.
Sangamesh, how can we maintain multiple environments stack? Maybe same application stack,
Yeah.
but for different environments, right? So how do we maintain?
See what the configuration, because it's a beginner
But I haven't gone through in depth how exactly your question and Ankur questions are related itself, basically, right? So I was planning to do it in a next session or something like that, because it will go in depth. I was planning to introduce modules in real world, how exactly you can do it, right? Your questions are valid. Probably for a beginner, it is too early. That is what I would say.
Okay, no problem. Yeah,
There is a folder structure is required. At a runtime, we choose using environment variables. So we will variabilize all this. But so if you see here, one second, all these are now it is hard coded. In real world, it won't be hard coded.
Okay, it will be a variable file.
Correct.
Got it. Yeah.
It would be variabilized, and it would be read for each environment and each subscription, depending on each environment. There is a separate variable file would be there. From there, it would be picked. Probably in the next session, I will go through about that.
Yeah, got it. Thank you. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. Another. I do this kind of sessions regularly. Next session, I will take a further bet. My intention is to help community. So see, I have a 18 plus years of experience. I want to give it back to the community. So that is the reason. What I did was I have created a YouTube channel called as a Beginner Academy. So whatever the exercise I have given you, right, showed you, right, and plus some more I have added it in this particular YouTube channel. Whenever you get a free time, right, so make sure you please subscribe to this particular channel, so that and then refer those videos and manually create it. I believe in practicing it, then only you will get perfect. So make sure after this session, go through those videos and then practice it. And if you have any question, right, you can either ask me in a WhatsApp, whatever the WhatsApp it is there here, or comment on my YouTube channel on any video. I'm happy to create a videos for you guys. It's on a free time I'm doing it without any monetary benefit. So it would be a encouragement for me if you guys subscribe and comment on my channel. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you for that so much.
Thank you.
Sure, Sangamesh. And I will also be subscribing, and I request everybody who is watching within this Zoom meeting, and also everybody watching our live stream. To our community has recently crossed 70,000 people. So I seriously encourage everybody who is watching to subscribe to Sangamesh's channel, Beginner Academy. So it will motivate the trainers to share more useful content for you. And all these YouTube channels are definitely free. You don't have to pay anything to subscribe. So I had a experience telling to subscribe to one of my channels to my mother. So she was asking me, do you have to pay to subscribe? When you hear the word subscribe, some people get this feeling that, okay, you have to pay something, but YouTube channels are free to subscribe. So it is only a click for you, but it will be a motivation for the speakers.
Yeah, it is giving back to community. When more people watches it, it would I can create spend more time, right? It is no monetary benefits, no strings are attached. It is you ask for it whenever I have a free time, I'll do it for you guys. It is kind of a community service. What I'm currently doing it. So yeah, please do it.
Thank you, Sangamesh.
Thank you guys. And there are few.
Sangamesh, sorry, one more thing. What would be your frequency of these tutorials? Like, just wanted to know, because today is just the start.
In this the platform, every 2 weeks I'm planning to do a session. See, the thing is, I have 18 plus years of experience. All the DevOps tools chain, I have done that. For example, my intention was, so this is the standard tutorial. Usually I was planning to do it. So this is the beginner bit. I have done it. So my plan was whatever I am doing currently, right, in my current technical IT world, these are all the tools I am using it. Terraform code quality tools you should be doing it. For example, Checkout, Terraform Test and Pester. So and proper lab exercise and all those bit. This is what I was planning to do in next session. Frequency wise, it is like I was planning every 2 weeks once. That is what I was planning to do it. Not only Terraform, I had a plan to do Vault, HashiCorp, Vault, Packer, and even all the tools which in my day-to-day life I am using it. And whoever comment on my videos, right? So I try to, in my free time, I try to help them out by creating a videos. That is what I do it. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah.
Yeah, my plan was take one, rather than when people say real-time projects, what I say is take one example and what are the tools it is surrounding DevOps tool is used, right? My intention is to create that part so that everyone can benefit. So use case, the way I have created practice sessions, it is easy to use and easy to create it, a few resources itself. So my next plan was to create a proper use case wise, but time is the I'll talk to Hartin and try to find it out. Weekly session.
In case Sangam is sorry to interrupt, but in case if I need some quick help from you, would it be possible for you to spare some time, maybe 15-20 minutes? Maybe
anyone either in the same WhatsApp channel or there are multiple ways are there. Telegram is there, or WhatsApp channel is there, Facebook is there, anywhere, or LinkedIn is there, right? You can contact me any place. I would be able to help you guys. See, this is a community service. I'm doing it. I wanted to reach to many guys, so and help. That is what intention is, sir. So you guys can reach me out. So I think one great thing this platform they have done is fake guys they have removed it, right? So a proper trainer only has to train it. I appreciate Hartin sir whatever he is doing it, right? So I'm seeing in Facebook there are they say trainer, but hardly 2 or 3 years experience, and they're charging a lot of money. So my intention is the way Hartin sir is doing it, it's good only. That is I felt. That is the reason I collaborated with this program basically.
Yeah. Thanks for that, and thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Okay, guys.
Thank you. So thank you, Sangamesh. So come back. So to everybody who is watching across, so we have this unique community model. So we have different WhatsApp groups, and whatever WhatsApp groups we share in the Facebook group, it is first level is just staging, start with S1, S2, etc. The reason is because we want to filter out spammers or not real people, and then only real people join the actual groups. Because we had very bad experiences in the past where people post something completely unrelated, not even watchable with families, but WhatsApp does not give you any control. Even the admins cannot delete it unless that person delete it. So we have extra precaution by having this staging group. So you have to join the staging group. In staging group, you won't have permission to post anything. The only thing you have to do is you have to introduce to one of the admins and say that you are real, and probably share a LinkedIn profile to confirm that, and then they will add you to actual groups. Actual groups also, we have two kinds of groups. We have completely free groups starting with F1, F2, etc. And also we have a C group or C1, C2, etc., which is a contributors group. And a contributors group has a very unique community learning model. Whenever you share a knowledge, it has a subscription model. It is not like the YouTube subscription we discussed. Whenever you take a session to the community, your subscription will get increased by a month. So it will make sure that people actually contribute and will not be just listening. So we also have the cloudrix.com portal, which is for people who do not want to see the ads in Facebook. So we have close to 150 people now, and what we do there is basically we share the expenses among the group. It is hosted on a platform called circle.so. So it has we use the enterprise plan because it uses APIs, and then we are able to do live project about all these subscription management and all to make it automatic. So that's it. Thanks again to Sangamesh, and I would leave him to talk about any final words if you want to say.
That's it from my side. It was almost 2 hours session, right? So yeah, a bit. Probably I'll speak to you, Hartin. So and I'll contact you if guys are interested. I'm happy to help the community. So
Sure.
whichever tools it is interested, let us poll it depending on the interest. My interest is I wanted to reach to many guys. You have a good platform. I can reach to all the guys. Probably next different tools I can similarly I can plan it. Yeah.
Sure. Thanks, Sangamesh.
Thank
So
you.
thank you all. See you in
Thanks,
next
Sangamesh.
class.
Thank you so much.
Until then, bye bye.
Bye guys. Thank you.
Thank you.